soldiers on a grand paper plane, rolling dice to echo cannon's refrain. Kingdoms rise within this tabletop dust. In strategy and chaos we place our trust. The generals lean with a calculating stare. Hands of fate guide moves with a flare. Tiny hills climb where valleys fall steep. Battles fought while the house stays asleep. Wargaming dreams on a six-sided star. In this microcosm we travel so far. Heroes die small, but their legends grow large. In this tiny world we're always in charge. Painted commanders in coats of bold hue patrol the terrain in colors so true. Armies clash with a flick of the wrist. Victory's a mark on a checklist kissed. Dice are the drums of this parade of might. The board is the map glowing soft through the night. Imagination ignites where the pieces collide. A universe unfolds we cannot hide. 100 battles fought in one single room. Victories blazing, entropy and gloom. Armies may fade, but spirits don't rest. In the heat of this game, we earners of trust. Tiny soldiers on a grand paper plane, rolling dice to echo cannon's refrain. Kingdoms rise within this tabletop dust. In strategy and chaos we place our trust. The generals lean with a calculating stare. Hands of fate guide moves with a flare. Tiny hills climb where valleys fall steep. Battles fought while the house stays asleep. Wargaming dreams on a six-sided star. In this microcosm we travel so far. Heroes die small, but their legends grow large. In this tiny world we're always in charge. Painted commanders in coats of bold hue patrol the terrain in colors so true. Armies clash with a flick of the wrist. Victory's a mark on a checklist kissed. Dice are the drums of this parade of might. Tiny soldiers on the table march in line. Painted shields and swords, they shine so fine. Dice roll like thunder, sealing fate. In this battle of ours, and castles rise where soda cans stood. Mountains made of books, it's a cardboard wood. Strategy of giants on a scale so flee. We topple empires with a cup of tea. Wargaming in miniature, no war too small. Battles on the tabletop, we'll conquer all. Heroes made of plastic, armies clash and roar. Wargaming in miniature, let's fight some more. Battlegrounds in living rooms, legends unfold in the chaos of dice. Our stories are told from the rookies of war to generals wise. The fate of tiny worlds lies in our eyes. Snacks to the side and the glue close by. We men, broken warriors, give them one more try. Cavalry rides beneath the lamp's warm light. On this tiny frontier, we rewrite the fight. Wargaming in miniature, no war too small. Battles on the tabletop, we'll conquer all. Heroes made of plastic, armies clash and roar. Wargaming in miniature, let's fight some more. Let's fight some more. Let's fight some more. No.
All right, there we are. Hello again, everybody. Let me go ahead and get rid of this. I don't need my headset on. I'm not listening to the music. Actually, I was, but... Hello, everybody. This is Derek, and I'm coming back at you with another Wargaming and miniature video. In today's video, or today's live stream, we're going to be painting on... not finishing, but we will be painting on 3 French battalions for my Meg. What am I saying? It's been a habit doing a lot of Meg. Okay, sorry, Marshals and Generals. It's Mag. No, seriously. 15 millimeter Napoleonics that I'm painting up for Quatra. I am very close, super close to getting my French finished for my Quatra game. I've got these French line units. I've got 3 French light units, and I think 4 cavalry. And once I do, and some limbers, I think, and yeah, some limbers. And once I do that, then I will be up and running and ready to go for my Quatra battle. Now today I'm going to do something a little bit differently. I'm using my little rubber booties on my fingers to prevent blisters, and also to protect the blisters that I've already got on my fingers. I don't know what it is about my hands My skin is like super delicate, like a little baby's bottom. And I don't know, and I get blisters on a regular basis. Okay, so we're gonna paint 3 infantry battalions, 24 figures each. And what I need to do now is move my microphone a little bit closer so you can hear me, so I don't have to yell halfway across the room. Okay, I'm going to throw on these glasses. These, in combination with the glasses I'm already wearing, magnify everything so I can see what I'm doing. We're going to paint with 3 colors that I pulled out. I pulled out shadow gray from Atom, the MiG line. I've got 2 model color. Well, that's not true. I got a Vallejo green brown, and I've got a MiG ammo uniform green base with mixing ball. Okay. I found myself really digging these paints. These ammo, the Atom line. I really like the Atom line. It's probably my favorite line of paints. If I have 2 options and one of them is Atom and another one is another brand, I will go with the Atom. And I have Vallejo, Army Painter, AK, MiG, even though these are MiG, they're not the old MiG, they're the new MiG. If that makes good sense. Okay, so now, oh yeah, I forgot what I wanted to do here. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, let me go ahead and let me do what I was gonna do. Dang it. Dang it all. I forgot I was gonna do it before the stream started. Balls. Okay. It's no big deal. Just gonna take a drop of white. Doesn't have to be too much. Take any brush. And I was gonna paint a little white square, circle, or doesn't really matter. Just, I was going to paint some, oh, you can't see it on camera. I zoomed in too much. Paint a little white spot on the stick. And then what I was going to do is use my pen to number it to let me know which battalion I'm painting at that time or whatever. I could, I guess, use the white to just spell it out, but I decided against it. Okay, this is only going to take a minute for this to dry. I'm putting it on kind of thin. And as you know, I do a little prior preparation I did this last night. I pull out the paints for any project. What it doesn't matter what project I'm doing, but for whatever project that I'm painting at the time, I'll pull out all the paints that I plan to use on that project. Sometimes I'll forget a color and I'll be like, oh no, I got to pull another paint out of my paint rack. But usually that doesn't happen. Well, it happens. It happens from time to time. But I spend a good amount of time sitting here thinking, okay, I'm going to paint the boots this color. And then I'll pull it out. And then I say, okay, now I'm going to paint the pants, I think, this color. And I'll pull it out. And the jacket will be this color. And the collars and cuffs will be this color. And the face will be this color. And whatever, right? And I go through and I get prepared. Kind of like I plan for a mission, you know? And the mission is painting these figures. Okay. So now what I need to do is separate these into 3 separate battalions because right now I have them all mixed up. The command stand, now remember each stand that I'm putting together is 6 figures. Each one of these popsicle sticks is 6 figures. So what I planned was 1 stick, 1 stand. Okay. These are the 3 command stands. Now, 1 stick should be elites. That's 1. That's 1. And I'm going to put 1 elite group per battalion. Okay, that was pretty straightforward. Now, when I go to paint the figures, I'm going to paint 3 of them grenadiers and 3 of them voltigeurs. And then the rest will all be line. Okay, so that's 1 battalion. That's another battalion. And this is the 3rd battalion. Okay. So what I plan to do is paint, because the French at this time, I'm playing Quatra, which is the 100 Days battles. Waterloo, Quatra, Ligny, that time period. The French, their overcoats, they wore a lot of overcoat. These are all overcoated guys because of the rains that were happening in those days. It was very, very rainy, very overcast. Uh, the the soldiers didn't have a very good what's the word I'm looking for? Didn't have very good maintenance on their uniforms. Uh, with the new king, well, he's the old king brought back, but he that wasn't a concern or a that wasn't a priority of his. So the uniforms of the French army at the time kind of fell a little bit into disrepair. And the generals, I don't know where this order came from or how it promulgated down to the soldiers, but the order was to specifically wear the overcoats, and if everybody is wearing their overcoat, their jacket, their trench coat, or whatever, then everybody's going to look the same, right? It's basically the new French uniform was the overcoat. Um, the there were still some units that took pride in their blue and white uniforms and stuff like that, but very few of them had white pants. Almost all of them had whatever they could find or whatever they could stitch together. A lot of them were wearing brown pants, a lot of them were wearing tan or even striped pants. And one way to kind of conceal that fact was to wear the overcoats. Okay. Now, the second issue or the second problem was that not everybody had the same color overcoat. So I see a chat out there. I can't read it because my goggles, but thank you for the chat, and I'll get to it here in just a second. The troops had kind of whatever overcoat that they could find. It was a lot like the regular uniform. Some of them were dyed, some of them were brought with them from home. Some were military issue, some were not. And so if I wanted to be if I wanted to be anal about it, let's use that. I would take out like 5 or 6 different shades of colors, and I would randomly paint their uniforms, right? Some brown, some tan, some green, some gray, and so what I've decided, for at least these 3 battalions, is to paint one color per battalion. So this would be like the gray overcoats and the tan overcoats and the green overcoats. But I've been kind of tossing it up in my own mind, in my head, all morning. I've been thinking about this. I could paint like a couple of these guys tan, like two. I could paint a couple of these guys uh, uh, green, you know. That way there's a couple of tan, a couple of green in this battalion, but they would be predominantly gray. And then over here, if I was doing the tan, then I would do a little bit of gray, a little bit of green. And then on this one, if I was doing green, I'd do a little bit of tan, a little bit of gray. You get me. I think you understand what I'm doing. And so there will be a variety in each battalion, but it'll be almost dominant one color. That way, when the figures are on the table, you can kind of tell what battalion they're supposed to be in. It's really for the player more than it is for, historical accuracy or whatever. Now, before the stream ends, I'm going to take a short break, probably closer to like 11:30, something like that, and I'm going to order a pizza. And sorry, 10:30. And it'll get here by about probably 11. When it gets here, that's when we'll end the stream. So that's the plan. Okay, let me see if I can read this. Oh, I'll just take these off and read it and then come back. Joseph. Hi, Derek. Joe, checking in. Hey, Joseph. Did you get your Prussian cav? Because I did ship them already. I shipped them a few days ago, actually. And they might not have made it to you yet because I don't think it's been 4 days. I think that's how long it takes to get to where you're at. But if you didn't get them yet, they're on their way. If you want to see what they look like, you should check out my video, What Have I Done? And those are your Prussians on there. Okay, now I primed these guys with the German red brown. That's the color you're looking at. I personally think that's a really good primer color. Plus it's brush on. It's supposed to be airbrushed, I do believe. It doesn't say that on the title of the bottle, but when you get into the directions, like how to use this primer, it says apply a thin coat using an airbrush. Well, guess what? I just brushed it on. Not only did I brush it on, but I kind of like used a stiff bristle brush to work it down into the crevices and things. My stomach is giving me some grief. This just started. I have a condition. Let me share it with you real quick, or let me describe it. It's a stomach gastro, whatever you want to call it, gas, right? It's mostly gas, stomach grumbling, urge to go use the bathroom. And it only happens when I start streaming. I don't know. I don't really have it during the day or when I'm not on camera. Ever. But as soon as I turn the camera on, my stomach says, "Oh no." Maybe it's nervousness. Even though I'm not nervous. I'm really not. I'll show my face on camera, you know, and I'll say stupid shit on camera. It doesn't matter to me. Because if it did, I wouldn't get on camera. I get on camera because of the love of the game. Take it as it comes. Us cowpokes, we take it as it comes. Sorry. I didn't add any water to this gray. I'm realizing that now. Not that it needs it or anything. I just like to thin my paint out a little bit. Now, the other night I was wearing my gloves, and that's one reason why I'm experimenting with just the fingertips today. I was wearing my gloves, and I painted all day, or I was working on terrain actually. I was working on my terrain pieces, which I made a video, 4 of them actually, and you're welcome to go watch those. But I used stiff felt and acrylic latex to make terrain templates to be laid on the table. Okay, hold on. I added water and then I didn't mix it up. Man, I am all over the place. It's probably because my stomach is grumbling at me. And when I took my gloves off, I noticed that the sweat on my fingers, it's a lot like when you're in the bathtub too long. You know how they get all wrinkly and stuff? They were kind of like that, but the skin had torn. Because remember, I've got thin skin. I get blisters on a regular basis. And apparently, my forefinger had torn open. So I thought, let's go ahead and use my rubber booties today. just to see if it's any different or harder to paint or anything like that. They do have a tendency to slip up, to creep up on my fingers. So I've been kind of casually not putting any effort into it, just kind of doing like a little bit here and there, not really pushing myself or anything like that, writing my own set of rules for Napoleonics. If you've been on this channel for a while, you know that. I'm calling it Marshals and Generals. I'm taking my experience from a bunch of different rule sets that I've played and taking the best things. And when I say the best things, I'm saying what I think are the best things. Other people might not think it. But like why I liked this set of rules or why I liked this set of rules, why I think it should be done differently or whatever. And I'm kind of putting that set of rules together. And my first battle with my set of rules is going to be Quatra. Right? So what I'm kind of trying to beat around the bush and get to, if I knuckle down and really decide to paint my my forces for Quatra, I would have everything done in probably 4 months. I've got some Belgiques to do. I've got a few Nassau left. I have very little British left. Maybe like 4 battalions of British. Total. So let me think about this. I've got like 5 Belgique battalions, the Jaegers, the 7th line, the 3 militia units. I think it's 5, 7, and 8. I think I'm just going off of memory. So what are we looking at? 5, 9 battalions. The Nassau, I think I've got 2. I think they're large. So we'll just say 3, just to... So somewhere around 12 battalions on the Allied side, and I will be 100% finished. And then on the French, if you were to count these, I got 3 line, 3 lights. So that's 6. 4 guard cav. So that's 10. I think I only have 10 battalions of French. And if I really knuckle down, I could do probably 3 battalions a week. If I do like an assembly line mass production. So the Allied would be a month, and then the French would be a month. Okay, so that's like 2 months. If I really push it and do nothing else, let me just say that's what I'm kind of planning on doing. I'm planning on really putting my knuckles into the dirt and painting my Napoleonics at least to Quatre Bras. Not to Waterloo, just to get it up to Quatre Bras, and then I can add on battalions as needed. Because even though I'm painting the 2nd Corps, I can proxy in the 2nd Corps units into the 1st Corps, but they're never exactly the same. So whoops, I didn't mean to paint all the way to the end. Oh well. Because I was going to leave a couple of figs free. 2 brown, 2 green. Now, all the infantry from all these battalions are the same miniature. Oh, it's not exactly the same. There's poses that are different, but the uniforms are all exactly the same. So technically, if I wanted to, I could just pull a figure from one battalion and just put it in the other battalion. Cross-pollinate, if you will. But I'm not going to. I'm going to leave 4 figures on this stick ready to be one of those colors. So I'm only doing 2 of these. Yeah, my forefinger is almost completely popped off. Okay, let's scoot this back on. Probably because of that Band-Aid. It's probably not gripping onto the Band-Aid. That's okay. Yeah, it's a new month. It's a new project. I did my Romans for a couple of months. I'm going to do Napoleonics for the next couple of months. Hopefully, I can get this done. And if I see myself getting really close to finishing these guys, then it's gonna artificially force me to finish my rules, because I'll have all the figures ready to go, and the only thing holding me back would be writing my rules. And so maybe by I was going to say March. Then I thought about it and said maybe April. And then I said to myself in my head, maybe it should be June because, Quatra, Waterloo, and everything in June. But I'd like to play it a couple of times to make sure that everything is balanced and moves smoothly and accurately represents what a Napoleonic battle should represent. Give the feeling to the players that they're witnessing a battle. I want it to be fast, fun, and playable. That's my mantra for my rules. It's a core level game, which means it's going to be designed to be played with a core on each side. Not a massive battle like Waterloo. But that is one reason why I loved Napoleon's battles. Because you could play battles like Waterloo in an afternoon. It just wasn't done on a battalion scale. So I've thought about it, and this is something that's going to get worked into my rules. I'm gonna make it scalable, so it can be larger or smaller units. So you can go up from a corps to maybe an army, or go down from a corps to maybe a division. Oh, excuse me, like a division. But going down below corps, there's no real need to change the rules at all because it's going to be You're going to be moving battalions, not companies. All right, let's see what you got on the chat before I move on to the next color. We got not yet. Saw the video. They look outstanding. Yeah, they actually came out pretty good. I was happy with them. Thank you for the compliment. I do appreciate that. You'll have to look at them in person, but because the camera can zoom in and it could find blemishes and stuff like that, that shouldn't exist. Now this one doesn't have a mixing ball, but that's okay. I could always add a mixing ball because whenever I empty a paint and it has a mixing ball, I ensure to collect the mixing balls in case I ever want to add them to a paint. It seems like 6 drops, 6 real big drops worked pretty good. From that gray. Get that water mixed in there. Now I thought about using Iraqi sand, and then when I sat down, because I had pulled it out already, I said to myself, that's not really. I mean, it's a really good color, and it's probably pretty accurate, but it's too light. The shade was, but then I was trying to convince myself. I said, well, when I wash it, it's going to darken up. Then I said to myself, nah, let's get a color that's closer to what I'm looking for. One thing I love about the greatcoats on the French, no turnbacks, no collars and cuffs, none of that, those facing colors. There were some units that would have collar variations. Specifically, some of the elite units like the Grenadiers and Voltigeurs. Yeah, it's been raining here for like a week straight. So it's very wet outside. For those of you that saw me when I mentioned the our living room flood that we had, I do have some news on that. And for those of you that don't know, I'll just reiterate what happened. Apparently, one day my wife was in the living room watching television and her feet started to get wet. And she was like, "What's going on?" And there was water coming up from the floor through the carpet. Um, couldn't find any of our pipes were not leaking or anything. So she called our plumber, which we use Hiller Plumbing. I don't know if you guys are, if that's in your area or not, but we use Hiller. We've used them for years because we have a contract with them actually. Um, they come out twice a year and check our pipes and our air conditioning and basically do like maintenance or um, a checkup, if you will, on all of our stuff. Partially because we bought our water purifier, our home water purifier from them, and then signed up for a, I don't know, is it discounted checkup service or something? I don't remember. So she calls him. They send a guy out. Um, he takes a look under the house to make sure there's no busted pipes, which there's not. Um, but he found that there was some water streaking underneath the house, underneath where the laundry room was. So he goes in, and that's where their water heater, not water heater, water purifier is. So, you know. So they go in there, they check, and they find that the drain from our washing machine is clogged. And anytime we do a load of laundry, the water doesn't go down the drain, it goes down the side of the wall. And then gets to the bottom into our laundry room and pools up against the outer wall because the room is sloped. And but some of it apparently has been going down inside the wall where this drain is and coming out on the other side of the wall, which is where the living room is. So basically, this clogged drain is causing water to go through the wall into the living room. which is a bad thing. So he brings his snake in here and snakes out the drain and goes underneath the house and says that he needs to replace some of the pipes because they're old, 50 years old when the house was made or whatever, and that they were insufficient for the new washing machine. They don't drain, they're too small of a diameter or whatever. And I was like, yeah, that sounds legit. So he goes down there and replaces the pipes and cleans out the drain, and everything's good, right? Okay. Even though the carpet's still wet, we're drying that out and everything. So a day after, water starts coming into the room again. Call up Hiller, say, what's up? You got a guy, he didn't do anything. What's going on? There's why didn't he fix everything? Blah, blah, blah. So they send another guy out. He sees that the drain is still clogged and none of the pipes have been changed. And he's like, what's going on here? So he sends a snake down the drain, and then he says that he needs to replace the pipes, just like he gives us the exact same story that the other guy gave. And he says, I gotta go get the proper pipes because he didn't have them on his truck. And so he would be back the next day. Well, the next day comes around. He shows up with the pipes. He gets under the crawl space, replaces the pipes. And now we're just holding our breath, wondering if everything is fixed. But with the rain and everything, my point is, it's been raining like crazy. We have some stuff outside trying to get it to dry off. Mainly the throw rug. There's like this, my wife has this like 10 by 10 Might even be 10 by 12. I don't know. This thing is gigantic. It's a rug that we keep in the living room for some reason. I don't even know why. Because the living room's carpeted. But she keeps it in there. And it got wet. So we took it outside. Which I'm going to tell you, this rug, it's heavy when it's dry. And when it's wet, it's not just heavy. It's heavy. It was so heavy. My son, my wife, we were all trying to get it out the door. So we got it out the door onto the porch. But there hasn't been really any sunlight to dry it. It's just been sitting out there. Not getting rained on. Well, maybe a little bit. If it's windy, which it has been, some of the rain, I'm sure, has gotten up underneath the porch. I haven't checked. And the temperature's kind of come down a little bit too. It's actually kind of, but to be honest, I think it's warmer than normal. Even though the temperature has come down, I always thought that Halloween was the beginning of the cold here in Tennessee. And it kind of was, but not as cold as I remember. I could be remembering wrong though. Stomach's growling again. I can't wait for that pizza, that's what it is. I don't know if you know this, and you probably do, but Domino's has a special where if you order 2 items off of this list, then they're only $6.99 each. Right? But if you order just like one pizza, it's like $12. So of course I'm going to order a second item if I'm going to get it for the pretty much the same price, maybe $1 or $2 more. So I decided I'm gonna get not just a pizza, I'm gonna get a sandwich as well. A sandwich. I'm gonna have a sandwich. A club. Pepperoni and ham, I think, is what they're putting it on. I'm sure it's the pepperoni from the pizzas and ham from the pizzas. It's going on this sandwich. But I'm okay with that. I have no problem with that. But I'm going to save the sandwich for later. I'm going to have the pizza when it comes in. I'm going to gobble at least half of it down. I could probably eat the whole thing all in one sitting. But I actually like to save it for later and eat it as like a midnight snack or whatever. So I'll probably have, if they cut it into, what do they cut it into? 8 slices, right? I'll probably eat like 5 slices. And then in a couple hours, I'll probably finish it or eat the sandwich. I don't know. Yeah, my wife went to school yesterday because she's a school teacher. She didn't come home. I don't remember if she mentioned that there was an event this weekend or not. I don't remember her mentioning that. But that's okay. I don't really care about her comings and goings. Now I think I remember her saying something about a dog watching, and it might be this weekend. And then I just totally forgot about it because I don't plug that into my brain. I know I'm a bad person, right? But that's why we have a calendar that we can check. And I didn't see anything on her calendar. I hope nothing bad happened, you know. If something bad happened, I'm sure the authorities would have contacted me, so I don't even concern myself with that. It's like I don't believe anything like that would have happened. One thing I like about the Domino's online ordering experience, they have a tracker on there that gets updated as the pizza is made. It says, you know, the pizza's finished, being inspected by the chef, and then when it gets in the car, it says this driver is now on the way with your pizza. And then Google Maps pops up and it shows the location of the driver. I think that's pretty cool. I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, we're going to do the green. And I'm using, what is it, uniform green base. I was going to use refractive green or a darker, like a darker green, but this actually, uniform green base actually is a really good color for this. German camo dark green, that's too dark. And with all these colors, I'm probably going to go through 2 palettes. Nothing coming out? What's going on? Here it comes. Yeah. And 6 drops seems to be the right amount for the amount of overcoats that I'm doing. All right, here we go. Got all my packages shipped out this morning. Actually, right before I went live, I was like, oh man, I need to check my orders because there might be orders that I overlooked. And lo and behold, there was one. So I boxed it up and shipped it out right before the stream started. Yeah, this is the first time I'm using this as a overcoat color. I've used various greens in the past. Was never really happy with any of them. This is exactly what I'm looking for. I don't know. Focus is turned off. But yeah, that's the green that I'm looking. You can't really see. It's not even focused. That's like, yeah, I'm very happy with uniform base green. It's not olive. It's not dark green. It's kind of like a light green, sort of, but it's not. It's kind of dark. I don't know how to explain it. With a wash, darkening this up a little bit. Oh man, I think that would be primo perfect. Not just perfect, primo perfect. Prime perfect. So I did go to Cromartie Forge and I did order a Germanic farm, right? I ordered a couple of packages of Germanic civilians, villagers, or whatever you want to call them. I don't remember exactly what they call them, but I'm going to use those all over. And I've even thought about individually basing them maybe on a smaller round base and then just placing them on farms or placing them out in the fields or in a town, just as kind of like scatter terrain, just civilians going about their business. They're not going to be glued down to the bases, so that as the units move through wherever they're standing, you can just move them out of the way. Kind of like the way I do my trees. And just looking at the figures, they look like they would suffice on any battlefield. Some of them. Some of them are obviously Germans, but most of them are just like medieval civilians. And could go anywhere. So when I get those in, which I don't expect them in anytime soon, but when I do get them in, I plan to stop the presses, stop everything, and do them. Just for a little variety, just to keep my mind fresh. Try something a little different. But with that, like I said, I'm getting the farm. I bought the farm, but I also bought the marching fort, the full thing. So it's like 4 walls and a campsite on the inside. And I ordered the fortified campsite. Now, there are enough tents with the marching fort and the fortified camps that I could make a couple of different camps. With tents on them. And because there's an option to go fortified or not fortified with your camp, maybe I need to have one of each in case I decide to go non-fortified, or if I decide to go fortified. Instead of just saying, Mr. Opponent, this is actually a fortified camp. Mr. Opponent, even though it has walls all around it, it's not a fortified camp. No, I don't like players that do that to me, because I take that as laziness. For those of you that know, maybe you don't know, I used to have a brick and mortar store. We had like 6 gaming tables, and we would host tournaments, card games, board games, miniature games, role-playing games, all different kinds of games in this on these tables at various times of the year or whatever. And every week we'd have like players, reserve a table and use it. And it was always free. And I had some customers say, you should charge for your tables. And I just could never bring myself to do that. Why would someone come into a game store and run their game if they have to pay for it? This is what I was thinking of myself. I wouldn't do that. Looking back on it, what I probably should have done was make a coupon and charge for the table something pretty high, like $2 a player for 2 hours, or $1 an hour per player, or something like that, right? So if you're playing a 4-hour game with 4 players, that'd be like $16, right? It sounds high, but the referee, the host of the game, would receive a coupon. This is what I'm thinking I probably should have done, for $16. So basically, he would get the table for free, but it would basically require him to buy something. Maybe I could make it a digital coupon split it up amongst the players, or break it down into, think of it like store credit. Like you got $16 in store credit. So you can buy a soda this week and buy a candy bar next week, and you can just use your store credit. So technically it was free, but it would force sales. I don't know if that makes sense. Or they didn't have to use it. They could just not use it. Or give them store credit that's just a little bit less than what they paid. So like a $15 table charge would get them a $10 store credit. Or something, you know what I mean. I don't know. I could have came up with something. But I just said, no, tables are going to be free. But my point is, I went on a tangent. It's talking about players that would proxy. That actually kind of bothered me a lot. So imagine, just put yourself in these shoes. Imagine going in and playing a game of bolt action. You bring your American player, your American soldiers, you spent whatever points on all the troops. You've got all the miniatures painted and everything's good to go. And then this guy is playing Germans on the other side. And he says, you see this Panzer III model? I paid the points for a Tiger, so it's actually a Tiger. And it should be good because, and it should be balanced because I did pay the points for it. Just imagine how you would feel if you bent over backwards to make sure all of your troops were painted accurately and you had the right models representing your troops. And then some loser comes in there with he says, well, I bought the Tiger, but I just didn't have time to paint it and put it together. So I thought it would look better if I had a Panzer, at least a painted tank on the table. So I brought my Panzer III. Would you be happy with that? Would you be okay with that? You know what would happen to me? I would play with him. I would even allow his unit to be a Tiger. I would understand that he didn't have time to paint his troops. I would, especially if he's a younger kid and doesn't have a whole lot of money and stuff like that. So I would be okay with playing him like that. But I would have a different opinion of him forever after that. It would be like, oh yeah, that's that guy that proxied his tank. That's that guy that doesn't take any time to paint his troops. And if he won, that'd be even worse. I'd be like, oh man, I lost to Panzer III. Just playing, but yeah, I would be, I wouldn't be livid, but let me just say I wouldn't enjoy myself. I would be like, let's hurry up and get this game over so I can move on and with my life. Now, if he was hosting a game, here's where it comes, where my mind changes a little bit. If he's hosting a game and says like, "Hey, I'm running a World War II game over here on this table. Anybody that wants to come and play can come and play." And I walk over there and I sit down and I'm like, "Yeah, I'd like to play." And he said, "What side do you want to play?" "I want to play the Americans." "Okay, cool. Um, these are all your troops. This is what this is what this is, blah blah blah." And then when he sits the German player down, some guy comes up and says, "Hey, I'll play, and I'll play the Germans." Okay, just one thing everybody needs to know: this Panzer III on the table, it's actually a Tiger. I just didn't have the time to paint it and get it out here on the table. I apologize for that, but just making sure everybody knows. I would be 100% totally okay with that. I would be like, "Oh, okay, no worries. Thanks for letting me know. That's a Tiger. Okay, I got it." And I would enjoy the game just as much as everyone else. And if he crushes me in defeat or whatever, I would be like, shake his hand, say, "Good game. That man, you crushed me. That Tiger came around that building one time and man just blew me away." And I'd be like totally okay with it. Because that's two different scenarios. And there's two reasons why I would enjoy that. One, we had a referee and I wasn't him. I was the player. The figures were not chosen by the players. We didn't design our armies to be min-maxy, to outdo our opponent, and do everything in our power to crunch numbers. And there would be a stated goal and probably a scenario, maybe even historical. I would fully enjoy that kind of a game. I personally don't like miniature games that have a game before the game, a pregame. That pregame is spending points. I don't like point-driven games. I understand their purpose and I understand they can be fun. They can be like, you can play tournaments like that with points. And I like tournaments sometimes. I like spending points on armies. I just prefer not to. I like games that provide points, but they tell you don't build an army using points. These points are only to help the scenario creator make a balanced game by using points. But even then, I don't use points usually. I use historical fact. Like I'll go into a mission and I'll say, oh, well, there were 3 German grenadier platoons there. Well, guess what? Now there's 3 German grenadier platoons on the table. There was only 2 American paratrooper platoons. Okay, well, that's what you get. Let's see what you can do with it. And then if you were to try to take it and break it down into the points, the Americans would probably have less points on the table. But sometimes that's what makes a game challenging or enjoyable. You're like, well, they fought this battle in history. Let me see what I can do. Let me see if I can do better or worse. I mean, they might have got lucky and got, you know, okay, I think all the trench coats are done. All right, all the trench coats are done. And it's time for me to order my pizza. I'm thinking I'm going to go pepperoni and jalapenos, but I might go pineapple. What do you think, guys? I don't know. Looks like Joseph took off. Damage was limited. Thanks, Joseph. I know you're already gone. You might watch this later from where you left off on the follow-up. Okay, give me a second, guys. Let me order this pizza. I tried ordering it earlier, but it said the store was closed. And when I was clicking on stuff, it did. Okay, this is different. Okay, my address popped up. Okay, it's working. I'm not on Google, right? I'm on Opera. Okay, good. Add an item. Well, the first item I'm going to add is the sandwich. They got a chicken habanero. Chicken parm, chicken bacon, buffalo chicken, Philly cheesesteak. That actually looks good. But what we've got here, grilled chicken breast, pineapple, jalapenos, sweet mango habanero sauce, cheddar cheese. I don't know. That one looks really good. Pineapple and jalapenos. The Italian comes with banana peppers and green peppers and onions. Can I do an Italian and then change the toppings? I think I can. But that pineapple jalapeno, well, the sweet habanero sauce. See, I'm not sure if I want the grilled chicken. Okay, I clicked on the Italian. Oh, it only lets me delete it. Wait, no, there's a button there. Light or normal? Yeah. I think I'm gonna go with the. I think I'm. Yeah. I don't know. Okay, I think I'm gonna go with the habanero one. Mango habanero sauce. I can only go light or normal. I can't go heavy. Okay, whatever. This one looks good. I'm going to add it. Boom. Let's do a second item. It's going to be a build your own pizza. Start from scratch. Hand tossed. Yep, 12-inch. That's what she said. Garlic crust. No garlic crust. Yeah, we'll go with garlic crust. Now, I've been kind of picking some with barbecue and some with tomato. I'm going to do extra tomato. Obviously, it's going to have some cheese. It can be normal. That's fine. I think I'm going to go pepperoni. It can be normal. Now, this is the question. Do I want more jalapenos? Because I love the hell out of some jalapenos. Or do I want banana peppers? I don't think so. Or do I want where's pineapple? There it is. Do I want pineapple? Because I love me some pineapple on a pizza, believe it or not. I'm weird like that. Or do I want like banana peppers or lot of jalapenos. Jalapenos in my sandwich and jalapenos in my pizza. Guys, I'm torn. I don't want to put both because if I do, it's going to add to the cost. See, I think pineapple is going to make it too sweet. I could throw my own jalapenos on there because I got jalapenos in the fridge. I could just drop a few of those on there. I'm going to go pineapple. Okay, extra cheese? No thanks. Yep, we're just going to go with those two. Done with this deal. Do I want to add bites? Nope. Do I want to check out? Yes, I want to check out. Hand it to me. There we go. Confirm. Sandwich, pizza. Add more. Ooh, those marble cookie brownie. Nope, nope, nope. Stop. Stop trying to add stuff. Does the back door on there? Yep, back door's on there. Everything looks good. And PayPal. Yep, because I'm cool like that. I'm not sure about this. I don't know what I just did. I'm giving a spinning. It's just spinning. We're sorry. It seems to be a technical problem. Please try again. Okay. Good. That means I can change my tip amount because I wanted to give them a tip. Okay, we're having a problem. try that. There we go. Okay, I just changed it to my credit card. Apparently PayPal didn't want to go through. Might have something to do with the SNAP benefits. No, I'm just playing. Sorry if you're on SNAP. Making your order. April begins. April must be the one working on it. I was thinking that was a date. I was like, she's gonna make it in April. No, it says begins preparing your order. Okay, tell us how he did. Well, I can't do that until it gets delivered and I eat it. Okay, so I'm gonna keep my eyes on that. So that's covering up chat, just letting you know. Because we're gonna stop once it gets here. Okay, next thing I want to paint is simple stuff like pants. Pants. Yeah, and I'm just going to paint it with this wicker white. Wicked white. No, it's wicker white, not wicked. Okay, that brush is not for this. Ooh, I'm going to need another brush. Hold on. That's the one I wanted. This is a new month. Okay. So I need to wash my brushes. My brush rack right here. These are the ones that I use kind of on the regular. Those are the ones that I need to wash. So what I'm going to do is these things don't want to grip. They're so like they're sticky, but the fact that they move around makes it hard to hold on to stuff. Okay, so I got this magic potion. I'm getting it out just to kind of remind me that I need to clean my brushes. But I'm not doing them today. I'm not going to clean them, not today. Well, no, let me rephrase it. Not on camera. Maybe after I eat my pizza. All right, that's shaking it up. And this is just, when it comes to white and black, it doesn't have to be a premium paint. It could be the cheapest paint I can find. Except I like folk art because folk art has a really good pigment amount on all their colors. But white and black, they have for any paint, has the best pigment colors or quantity. Okay. Get this guy up and under my hoodie, and pants should go by pretty quick because all I'm doing is rubbing the brush against the pant leg, and I don't care if I get it on the boot because I'm going to paint the boot after that. I'm just trying to avoid the jacket, or I call it the jacket, but it's the coat. And again, if I was being really, really meticulous, about their pants, I might paint them other colors. Like browns and other colors, not just white. And that's another thing. Most of their pants they don't have gaiters. They're not um, contained around the boot, bottom of their foot or whatever. Not like the early days of the French where they're very anal about their uniforms. And I do believe that the driver is going to get here before I finish. If these guys were light troops, I'd be painting their pants blue, even though at this period there was no real uh, uniform for the lights like that. Oh, the rubber. Wants to sneak off my finger. Okay, it's under bake. They got to bake two things. They're baking a sandwich and a pizza. While Joseph was here, I forgot to ask him. I meant to ask him, how do they depict the different formations with just two bases? He plays a game where battalions are depicted by two bases. I can see a line, I can see a column, I can see a square. They might use a token or something for when somebody goes into a march column. Or it might be one of those games that doesn't use march columns. Because it assumes that if you're at the battlefield, the table, you wouldn't be in a march column. You use a march column to get to the table. I've played games like that before. Now, I used to work at Domino's a long time ago. Before that, I used to work at Express Pizza. When I was in high school, I worked at a place called Pizza Man, He Delivers. So I'm pretty in tune with the goings on in a pizza restaurant. In high school, when I went to my prom, I took my boss's daughter. No, I guess not boss. I mean, technically he was my boss, but he was the owner. I took the owner's daughter. She was about 2 years older than I was. She was flattered that I asked her to go to the prom with me. I don't think there was ever any chance of me dating her. But I do remember some of the girls I knew that were at the prom were jealous. Why? Well, she was very cute and older. It was one of those like, oh my gosh, Derek brought an older woman. Even though she was like 20 and I was like 18. We had a son. This was when I was in New Orleans. That's where I graduated high school. There was we had a sign over the pizza restaurant. It said, Pizza Man, He Delivers. We had a hurricane one year. And the pizza off the sign fell off. And it just said, Man, He Delivers. I was young and stupid at that time. So here I am, like 17 years old. I've got my own car. I'm delivering pizzas. I'm making a living buying role-playing games and miniatures, going on adventures to conventions in other cities, and I go to this one house, and it was full. Now, I wouldn't call it a house. It was kind of like a mansion, honestly. It was a big house. Let's just say it was a big house. It was full of girls in nightgowns. They were all about my age. It would be what you might call a slumber party. Okay, someone's coming. Out for delivery. Okay. The car is still at the restaurant. I'll probably do one more stick and then they'll probably be here. What did it say, Daryl? And they said, do you want to come in and have a slice of pizza? And you know what my dumbass response was? No, I'm working. I got other pizzas I have to deliver. There's people waiting for me. And I went on, delivered the pizzas. Went back to the restaurant. Um, my boss was there making pizzas. And I told him, hey, boss, I don't remember his name. It was many years ago. These girls, they invited me to stop and stay and have a slice of pizza with them. Can you believe that? And then he says, why are you here? You turned them down. Why'd you turn them down? I was like, I had other pizza to deliver. And he says, well, if it was me, I would have went inside and hung out with them. And he said, maybe I would have called the store and said that I had a flat tire. And somebody else could have came out and grabbed the pizza off you. And I was like, oh, damn. I missed out. Okay, well, he hasn't moved from his store yet. Or at least it doesn't look like he has on the tracker. So I'm going to keep going. That was a valuable lesson. I learned a lot of different things about honesty, about morals, okay, it sounds like there's a car outside, but the tracker hasn't moved from the store yet. So if I hear a knock on the back door, because I read somewhere that not every driver has a tracker in their car. Yep, there's a knock. That's right. Okay. You made it. Yeah, it's all good.
Enjoy.
All right, thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Probably stay dry. All right, so he did not have a tracker on his car. All right, guys, well, that's what we're going to call it, because I'm going to start eating. And you don't want to watch me eat. My pizza man, he delivers. Oh, goodness. I'll have to finish these up and then clean. I'll do the white on these after I eat. I'll finish the white on these guys, and then I'm going to clean my brushes. Because they don't need it, but it's good to stay on top of it. All right, so you guys take care. I'm out.